Shamoun ToviaSinger, say that nowhere in the Old Testament is um, speaking of the Messiah as a Nazarene.
Well, oh
Because
my goodness. If you go to Matthew 2:23, look it up, brother.
yeah,
Yes. This shows he can't read. The guy can't read. Matthew 2:23. Tovia Singer says there's nowhere in the Hebrew scripture says he's a Nazarene. Okay, read Matthew 2:23.
and he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene.
Now I want you to pay attention to the formula, and I want everyone to listen because you got to learn this argument. In Matthew 2:23, Matthew says the prophets predicted Messiah would be a Nazarene. Here's my challenge to every one of you. I want you to start reading from Matthew 1 to 2. Whenever Matthew quotes an actual prophecy, he says this was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken through the prophet singular. He doesn't use prophets plural. Did you notice here he says prophets plural?
Yes.
So right there, if you're paying attention carefully, he's not referring to any specific prophecy of a prophet. He's saying this was to fulfill what the prophets said, he shall be called the Nazarene. Now, unless Matthew thinks that you have several prophets all saying he shall be called the Nazarene, that shows that Tovia Singer can't read. You caught it?
Yes.
It's not an actual prophecy in those words. Otherwise, Matthew would be implying more than one prophet said those words, he'll be a Nazarene. He's telling you that the prophets have, in general, mentioned the fact that Jesus is a Nazarene. Now, does Matthew mean the word Nazarene appears there? Or does Matthew mean that the prophet spoke of the Messiah, who is Jesus, in such a way that we shouldn't be surprised that he ends up being associated with Nazareth as a Nazarene? Why? Because the prophets talked about the Messiah being humble and humiliated, right?
Yes.
Isaiah 52 and other passages that talk about him being humble, humiliated, debased, rejected, condemned, scorned. Psalm 22, Daniel 9, right? The word Nazarene isn't referring to an actual prophecy where several prophets use the word Nazarene. The word Nazarene is associated with the Messiah being humbled, humiliated, debased, rejected, accursed, condemned. And that is stated in Psalm 22, I'm a worm and not a man. Isaiah 52, beaten beyond human semblance. And the Israelites considered him accursed of God, smitten by God, condemned by God. Daniel 9, Messiah cut off, humiliated but not for himself, so on and so forth. How do I know Nazarene is meant to convey Messiah's humiliation? Because Nazareth was viewed by zealous Jews as a place of ill repute, as less than ideal place to live in. How do I know? Go to John 1:45 and 46. I'm losing my voice, guys, so pray for me. John 1:45, 1:46.
Philip found Nathanael and said to him, we have found him, of whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. And Nathanael said to him, can anything good come out of Nazareth?
Now you see why he's called Nazarene? Because he comes from a place that even the Jews looked down upon and scorn as the less than ideal state for the Messiah to come out of. Messiah would come out of such a place. So even his dwelling in Nazareth fulfills the prophecy that says Messiah would be humiliated, would be abased, would be humble, would be lowly, and wouldn't have anything that would attract people to him. So he's not called Nazarene as an actual name mentioned in the prophecies. Nazarene is being used in a derogatory sense, meaning of all places that he came forth, he comes out of that one place that even the Jews look down upon as an indication of what the prophets say. He would be humble, lowly, humiliated, abased, and debased. Making sense or no?
Yes.
So my challenge to the idiot Tovia Singer is, can you show me when Matthew is appealing to an actual prophecy, he uses the word prophets plural as opposed to prophet singular? He doesn't. When he's talking about a prophecy, he says, this is what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Here, don't take my word for it. Go to Matthew 1:22, read it.
So all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying.
Singular. Is it prophets?
No.
Okay. And then he quotes Isaiah 7:14. Now go to Matthew 2:15.
And was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, out of Egypt
Singular.
I called my son.
Prophet, right?
Yes.
Now continue from 16 all the way to 20.
Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were in Bethlehem, and in all its districts from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had determined from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet,
Singular. So
saying.
Now, if you had read all the way up, then Matthew expects you now to notice the difference in 23. Now read 23.
Read the rest of it? Or?
No, just read 23 because you caught it. Jeremiah the prophet, singular, right?
Yes.
Now notice the difference in 23.
And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets.
Now, why did he change plural? Because he's not referring to any specific prophecy with that name. You caught it now?
Yes.
You saw what Nathanael said about Nazareth. Can anything good come out of it? In other words, Nazarene signified that the Messiah wouldn't come in the glory of a king. He would come humble, lowly, abased, debased, humiliated, which is why, of all places, he comes out of Nazareth, the very place that the Jews look down upon with disgust. So he's telling you that the prophets essentially prophesied that Messiah would be of such lowly status, humble status, that he would actually choose to come out of a place that was looked down upon, a place that wasn't viewed as being a place you would expect the King of Glory to come out of. Nazareth. So Nazarene signified Messiah being humble and lowly, of no reputation. It had nothing to do with the actual word appearing in the prophets. Do you think Matthew really meant that more than one prophet used the word Nazarene? Of course not. Making sense or not?